As we step into a new season of Beneath the Surface, I've been reflecting on what last year's conversations taught me, not just about leadership or work, but honesty, creativity, and what it means to stay human in the middle of change. Today's conversation fits squarely into that thread. Rick Hardin is a musician and an artist rooted in the Bay Area, a place shaped by experimentation, resistance, and creative risk. But this isn't a conversation about image or output. It's about what it takes to stay connected to your craft when the noise gets loud and the path isn't linear. Rick talks about music as something lived, not produced, something shaped by place, by time, and by the willingness to listen to yourself and to the world around you. This conversation is reflected, grounded, and real. No performance, no polish, just an honest look at the human layer beneath the art. Let's go beneath the surface with Rick Hardin, the man behind the music of Beneath the Surface, and a very dear friend of mine. Thank you, Rick.
There's a simple country smile on the face of a new city girl. She says the roof ain't leaks and the rent is high. There's no better place in the world. It's a long way down, back to the bottom.
Rick!
Rick Hardin,
Gina!
everyone. Yay! Rick is here and he's in the house, so to speak. In
Thank
the
you.
house.
Hopefully you overdub clapping probably at this point, right?
No, we're not that quite advanced yet. We're not that quite, but thank you for taking the time to be with us on Beneath the Surface. We have a lot to cover here, literally and figuratively, because Rick is, no secret here. Rick is a long-term dear friend of mine. He is a musician. He's an artist. He's an amazing person. We have tons of stuff to talk about and to share. But at Beneath the Surface, we always start from the beginning. The beginning. So, gosh, and the beginning feels like a long time ago. And I think it was a long time ago, actually.
I felt differently. I remember I was a different person in many ways, back
Yes.
then. I had
I
a
think we
completely
both
different
were.
view of what was important back then, and I think about that all at that time, all the time. I thought about it yesterday. It's like, what was I thinking to think that like this and that were so important, like impressing certain people or whatever back then. And now I'm like, I don't know those people anymore.
So just to like frame this up, I remember, I'll just kind of limit this, but I remember being very excited. I was going through a personal, challenging time and very excited to go out with my music friends. And, they were like, you got to go see this guy. This guy is great. We love this guy. And, this guy ended up turning to be you on Clement Street. I can't mention the name of the place because I frankly don't remember it, but
It was probably the Rocket Room.
the Rocket Room. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just being like, kind of still new to the scene, San Francisco and the music scene, and completely excited. And it was quite a gig.
That
I'll
was
let
one
you
of my
take that.
first gigs. Was it the Heather Combs show?
I
Or
remember you with some. I feel really terrible because I don't remember the name of the musician. I only remember the nickname that folks gave him, which I will not share.
oh, Oh man, I don't know any nicknames for my folks. The people I used to play back then were like Keith and Keith. Gosh, it was Heather Combs is the person who connected with so many people. But
Yes,
yeah,
we love Heather, but
um,
it was he
hmm,
put on quite a show, and you were there with him. Um, yeah,
well,
we'll have to
gosh,
do a recall on that one, because that one is in the archives.
it was it Jeff Campbell?
No, it definitely wasn't Jeff
Yeah,
Campbell.
I didn't think so. That's so funny. Yeah, I gigged with a lot of people, and they still are around. They come back around, and they're like with kids and careers. And some people are in completely different industries now. Like,
Yes.
yeah, like, and I know that I still do music, and I switched around from a lot of different industries, but now I'm in the service industry. Like, you never know where you're going to end up, but I've always needed a day job. I can't just only do music, you know, but all the music stuff, all the gigs and all those blend together so well. It is really hard to remember who was there the night that you played, that I met you, you know?
Those were, though I have to say that was really, the true definition of the good old days. Um, yeah, when Clement Street was Clement Street. I mean, I just remember sitting there and being in awe, and all of the musicians, quite frankly, were amazing that were there that night, and just remember hearing you and just being like, "Holy cow." And that was that. I mean, it was like we were on sort of this Rick Hardin circuit for quite some time, just following your journey. And it's kind of one of those things for those who know, especially in the Bay Area music scene, not only specifically in San Francisco, but then, in the Bay Area at large. Um, you at that time, I believe, were either working on or you had put out an EP. Am I off in timing here?
No, I believe that's right around when that was. I wanted to enter a contest on KFOG, and
Yes.
yeah, so I never do anything like this, but I just wanted to win this thing and be on this compilation CD because I loved Renee Richardson and Peter Finch and Irish Greg and the Morning Show crew. And they had a contest where you could get on this compilation of local artists, and it was Bay Area local scene, Bay Area
Yes.
local, yeah. Um, and I think I was on number 4, and they just really supported local people, and I was like, man, I really would like to get on that. So I I sent in my application for an interview or something, and they responded and they said, be here for 10 minutes for an interview, you know. And I was in a meeting. I at the time I was just where I'd freshly gotten a job working for Metallica at their recording studio. They had like a headquarters place. Um, and I worked there, and I was in a meeting with the merch team, which I worked
Right.
with,
Right.
and I didn't want to leave, but it was going really long. And so I said to my boss, I said, I'm sorry, I hate to cut you off, and I gotta leave. Is that okay? I'm getting interviewed on KFOG right now. And they're like, you're a musician? And I was like, yeah, I'm a musician, you know, because I kept it a secret. But I drove into the city, and I hit one wrong turn and couldn't get there in time. So I ended up 10 minutes late for a 10-minute long interview, and they had already left. And I felt horrible. I missed it. You know, I tried so hard to get there, but I just gotten that job and didn't want to like let them know I was a musician. And so I didn't ask for the early lunch. I should have. And I ended up giving my CD to a lady at the desk named Special, and she was just like an angel. I knew she would get my CD to the program director and the morning crew. I knew it, you know. I just trusted her. So she actually gave my CD to them, and they picked my song, and they had me in for another interview. But I'm horrible at communicating. I don't answer email and things. I don't do that. So they were trying to get a hold of me for a while about winning the contest and getting on the CD. And I finally realized, you know, ran to the city and I said, I had like days left, they said, to say that it was okay to use my music. And I said,
Right.
what? And so I drove straight there and I was like, yes, you can use my music. And I met Kelly Ransford, the program director, and she was so nice. She said as soon as she heard the song, she knew that I was going to be a big deal or something like that. She knew that she had a feeling about it. I can't remember what she said, but she's like, I had such a good feeling right away about your music. And I had never thought someone at the big radio station who does music for a living. I thought people would think I was pretty good when they heard me live or whatever, but to hear somebody say the nice things that she said, and Renee Richardson was there saying really nice things, I was just kind of like in shock. Like, aren't these people supposed to be mean? Like, they
Right.
were
Right.
so
Right. Right.
nice. Yeah. So that project was just a 3-song EP, but I was in the studio one day and the producer just let me have a couple 3 hours and I improvised a couple songs. And one song improvised was Neverland. I just sat down and I just improvised it, and that
Right.
was the solo acoustic version. It's kind of cringe for me now because when I listen back 20 years later, after really trying to write good music and sing perfectly for 20 years, when I listen to that version now, I kind of want to take it down because it's pitchy and off time and stuff. But as soon as the track is over, I think to myself, it's just an honest picture of who I was at the time, And I've been doing a lot of full band recordings lately. So, like everything. It's a very expensive process. And so now I just finished like the second album. This one is 11 songs long and it's away in Chicago being mastered right now. It'll be out really soon. I don't have a title for it. I'm thinking I'm going to call it Cover and Run. But I'm so burned out on recording big band stuff and having big sounds all the time. Like I don't know if I could even make one more song like on that level right now. So I've
Yes.
thought about Neverland and those acoustic couple songs. Another one's called Captured. I also just improvised that at the time in the studio. So I went in
Okay.
the studio and I said to the new producer I'm working with, Alex Rather Taylor, I said, hey man, I kind of just want to sit down with no click track and play. And I know they're not going to be editable because you're not playing to a click track, but I just want to sit down and play and see which version I like the best, And he talked with me a lot about how to do that. And he came up with a great way to sit in the room with 2 microphones, recording through great old equipment. And I just got that back, and I'm reminded of Neverland, and like the thing I like about it and how it just really stamps who you are when you just do an acoustic version of something. It lets people
Yes.
know, like, if they were in the room with you, you would sound like this, your
Well,
guitar and
and
your voice,
I have to interject here. Your EP, it's just, yeah, I love it. I have all of your stuff just, playing on
I like
Spotify.
yeah, it's a big range of stuff, but the really old stuff, I love that it shows who I was. I'll put it that way, and I've enjoyed those songs so long now that, they're just in me. Sometimes they'll just come out when I'm meaning to play another song on stage. I'll start playing something from that EP. Just starts coming out. It's like a really strong imprint on me. If I'm ever lost on stage, I can go back to one of those songs and I know I'll do it great.
Well, I just wanna boast, because we've got some points in time to definitely, discuss because you've had such an amazing progression, with your music, but I can just tell folks that, when if you're clicking on over to Spotify and you're hitting Rick up and you'll see his EP, the work that, the original stuff. Man almighty, sitting in, whatever venue we were in. I would just, long ass day at work, running over in a cab in a suit, sitting in the back because I just didn't want to miss the show. And
That's great.
practically like laying on the floor listening to your music because your voice is just more amazing to me live than it is on, I guess, what you're calling a click track or whatever the heck those things are. But
Metronome.
that's why it's just I think that, the OG Rick Hardin fans, we have been there from the beginning and know exactly, through, your work, your art, your venues, like, what it sounds like. And yeah, I love that stuff. I think we'll move on from your EPs, but two of my faves for sure, Just Enough and Captured. I mean, yeah, those do it for me every time. So, and I'd like to mention to the audience and please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe your first album cover was actually
Oh, sorry.
we love we love pets.
I don't know what you're barking at, Moose. Hey, very cool dog. It's a little chihuahua that looks like the thing that sits on Jabba the Hutt.
Oh, great.
Moose, come here, Moose. He's like, I'm not going over there. He's not my dog. Maybe I can't show him. It's probably private.
Yeah, I think so. Oh gosh, I just lost my train of thought there. We were talking about your album covers. So your album covers, I believe, are all your work, unless I'm wrong.
No, it's Scott Mickelson. And he's got some proprietary information on how he creates those.
Got it.
It was such a fun way that he had to do things with the art. I'm an artist, like, I like to draw things from my own head freehand a lot. And sometimes it's fine art, sometimes it's really not good art. But these were created, I was paying him to create them for me because I just he's a very good artist. He's been trained in color theory and all that stuff. He went to college, I believe, for it, in addition to being a great producer. But he really knows how to use imagery for the human mind to see the composition and things and how it makes you feel. And he is great at not missing opportunities to express more and have more detail in things, So it was like a 3-hour process of telling him exactly what I like and what I didn't. And it's awesome to be able to sit with an artist and make suggestions and they see things come to life is really, really cool. Yeah. But I am going to be,
these are amazing.
I'm going to be drawing my own album covers sometime soon though.
So I think this album, one of these are from Scott.
The weather is the photo that I took. And then Rick Hardin EP it's a photo under a bridge. I ruined that jacket because I was leaning right up against a tar pole of some kind in the swampy ocean water bay of Rodeo Beach. I was under a bridge. That's not supposed to be something you go under, but we got that shot and I really liked it because you could see my chin a little bit. But yeah, so I still have that guitar though. It's a very old guitar my grandpa gave me.
I love it. Wait, you know what, Zach? We could let that go for a few. I mean, I just love this song.
Do you remember the dance?
No.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely a good one.
Like the third song I ever wrote.
Yeah, and so I think that's also I'm really glad I asked you for the clarification on the album covers.
Yeah, I was very involved.
Anyway. Anyways.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
I was really involved in creating all of them, especially the one under the bridge, because I think that was my idea.
Well, yeah, and I remember that. I remember when you were like, "What do you think? What do you think?" Yeah, but I'm glad. Good good correction here because I thought you did them all,
Oh, it's all
but
good. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
that
yeah.
EP, the EP cover was shot by Judith George, and she
Okay.
is Victoria George's mother.
Nice.
And Victoria George is an amazing singer-songwriter. She has such a huge inspiration to me. I just saw her a couple times recently. I love it when people get better and better. It is my goal in life. I don't want to stop getting better and better. I'm gonna hate it when I can't play anymore. But until the day I can't play anymore, I'm gonna be intending to get better and better. Like Scott
Yeah.
Lipsitz, my songwriting partner and very good friend, he gets better
Yes.
and better. And he's like, a successful businessman. He's CFO of Arcos Health. It's huge. And then he's also in a band with me and writes music with me. And it's just amazing what people can do. But he gets better every time I hear him play. And it inspires me because I don't do very many things. I just go to work and then I go home. But so all the free time I have, I try to put in the music and get better at it. But when I see someone who's like in a huge corporation, like, or a hefty job, and they're doing so much and still getting better themselves, I'm like, why am I not perfect by now? Because I really do dedicate a good chunk of my day to art and writing music. So
Yes.
hopefully I'm getting you're one of the people that have seen me from when I just started. I knew back in those days when you saw me at the Rocket Room, I knew 3 chords.
It's
When I
crazy.
improvised Neverland at that time, I didn't know what I was playing. I put 2 capos on because a kid had showed me a trick about using a capo upside down, and it's a tool that makes your strings a different thing on the guitar. But I improvised that song and didn't know what I was playing, but I had a great memory. I guess I still do for music, so I was able to just do it again. Um, it blows my mind that I didn't realize that I could play guitar pretty decent, sooner, but I spent 20 years thinking I really hate the way I play guitar. I'll never get any better. And then just a few years ago, I was thinking, I play pretty good. Like I'm sorted in time and I'm writing nice parts, but I always want to be like John Mayer, and be able to just rip on the guitar and still sing and write great stuff. But um,
So wait, so let's just take a step back. So yeah, definitely shout out. There's a lot of shout outs we're going to be making in this during this podcast. I should say definitely shout out to Scotty. Love Scotty. I've seen him play with you guys tons of times. Quite a talent for sure. Um, so we go from the EP, we go from Clement Street Rocket Room EP, musically speaking, kind of, like what's on your mind at that point? Like, I know there's been a lot of life that's happened between, etc. You know,
I started thinking that I was required to be famous and influential at the age of 4. I thought that
wow,
I was supposed to be on stage making people laugh. I didn't know what that entailed, but I remembered being on stage at church and
that's
looking
right.
at the whole room and knowing that I belonged there because I was making them laugh. It made me feel like I was here to bring joy. And at the time
Yes,
of writing that CD, I had a bit of pressure on myself, that EP. The pressure on myself, I was too heavy to deal with, and I did not perform well under it. I
got
took
it.
things way too seriously. Um, but it turns out I'm very, very dedicated to the bit of talent that I had. I don't know if it's a big bit or a little bit to start with. I think it was a big bit to start with,
It
but I
was.
worked on it. I don't want to like say that you can't do it too. Anyone can do this, but the gift of having a talent is wanting it. And at the time of writing that EP, I wanted to become a better writer more than I experienced being a pretty talented kid. So I didn't live in the moment very much as an artist then, and I was trying to write the perfect song. And I ended up with nice, beautiful, chill music, but it was through a lot of thrashing on my guitar. Scott would sit me down and say, you don't need to necessarily hit the guitar riff when you play, you can be delicate. So by the time I was finished with that EP, who I had Joey Mueller producing it. He's a great producer. He did such a great job, and he and Scott kind of talked me into trying to play less aggressively on the guitar, be more gentle. But I was full of angst because I had this feeling like I needed to be really entertaining, and
Right.
it still pops up for me that I'm thinking, why am I not more entertaining, Uh, but it's just a weird feeling. It's like a tick I have from when I was a kid. I really enjoyed being on stage, and I didn't like being anywhere else. So I only felt at home on stage, really. And that's a weird thing, when I go to parties, if there's no stage, I don't know where to go. And it's just not my place to be in the audience. I'm supposed to be up there. I just always feel that way. Even watching Dave Matthews a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I should probably be up there. It's not, they don't need me up there. But I just feel like I'd be more comfortable up there, and it's not to do with my ego, I don't think. It's just, that's where I'm comfortable. I want to be
Yeah.
performing. So those songs, they're my best effort at becoming famous at that time. I think I wanted to write a message to people, but I didn't have one because I hadn't had any real lived experience. And then when I got in the studio and just finished that, had those 2 improvised songs, that's when I let go by accident and I improvised Captured and
Wow.
Neverland in the same
Yes.
2 hours. They're different songs. One is only 2 chords, maybe 3 chords. I don't know. I do them a lot differently now, a lot more embellished, a lot more developed because it's been 20 years of playing them. But sometimes I still play them just simple, as if I still only need 2 chords.
Yes.
It's
Love
nice to
that.
be asked about that.
Yeah. No, because I think the beginning is important. I mean, we often forget, there's a place from which it all happens, right? And
Yeah.
that's typically the beginning. Speaking of which, so Scotty's been a big influence and a partner to you. Um, you participated. Well, let's see. You mentioned a couple things that people might have questions about. So you did participate in the K-Fog. Did that really go anywhere? Ever go anywhere?
It got me everywhere. It was so fun. I have this thing where I could make you a really long list of opportunities that I have squandered because it didn't feel right.
Got it.
And I don't know why, but I just always thought I am not a good enough writer yet to accept this big break. So when, rich neighbors offer you 80 grand to start your music career, most people might be into that, but I said, no, I don't have the material yet. I appreciate it. And when super rich fans offered me different kinds of things, I have to decline because it didn't feel like the music brought me there. It wouldn't feel like I had earned that. It wouldn't feel like my songs were good enough. Even though at the time people were looking at me with their checkbooks open saying, hey, your music's really good. So I had a different opinion about my music. And
Right.
change is everything when you don't appreciate that kind of thing, I think. I should have appreciated that it's an opportunity and taken it, perhaps. But at the same time, I kind of think maybe it was a message from God not to go there yet. And who knows who I would be if at 20, 25, I had started just touring all the time. I remember at one point, a couple people offered me gigs in Jamaica. They wanted to sign me and they had clubs there. And it ended with them threatening to sue me. And I had to get a lawyer to write them a letter. And thank goodness I know Scott sits because he hooked me up with just getting rid of those people. And they were really dishonest. They were like the worst people in the industry. They came to me first and offered me a record deal, like first thing that happened. And the K-pop thing was really cool because I was suddenly playing at Cafe de Nord and the
Yeah.
poster room at the Fillmore. And I don't think I played at the Boom Boom Room. I'm gonna soon. I just got invited to play there and realized I think that's the only mid-sized venue, little venue or medium, I don't know, that I have not played at.
Yeah, I
But because of
know.
KFOG, I have played everywhere else. It's
I
really cool.
know. I remember
Yeah,
actually the poster room at the Fillmore. That's actually when,
so fun.
oh my gosh.
I met. Did you go to the Chris Isaac show or the Katy Perry show, or I can't remember.
I
I feel
can't
like you.
believe I can't remember. It was the, she's right at the tip of my tongue. She was there. We went that night and you were in the
I
poster
played when
room.
the hot tubs were playing. I played when
She's,
not TikTok.
why do I want to say
No.
Sarah? Not Sarah. Oh, Gina. I even have the poster. You know how they
Oh,
have the
Sarah Bareilles.
Sarah Bareilles. That's right.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
really,
She's
really
just.
good.
Oh, she was great. I met her once and just was so tongue tied that she said hello to me on the sidewalk, and I didn't know, but she knew my mutual friend, and she came up before her show, and I was just trying to hang with these dudes that I knew from. They were Scott's friends, and I was trying to like, you guys are cool. Maybe you, because you know that I know Scott. If I happen to show up where you're going, we'll be friends. So I went to the show knowing they were going to be there, and I was like going in, and there's only one in the group that I knew, but I walked up and he said hello to me, and I was like, hey, how's it going? He's a really nice guy. He's a great musician. He's named Fiverr Brown. He's amazing. But I didn't know he's pals with Sarah Bareilles. I didn't know who Sarah Bareilles was. I had never heard of her. It was like way back. And
Yeah.
I'm standing
Yep.
out front of the Independence,
Yeah.
Great American, at the Great American. And Sarah Bareilles walks over and kind of breaks into the circle to say hi to her friend. And she looks at me and smiles and said hi. And I looked at her and I was like, I just backed away. I don't know what to say. I just felt like this huge presence or something. I felt like, I don't know who you are, but I was really nervous and I couldn't think of what to say. So I just
That's,
stepped away. That's
yeah.
on my list of missed opportunities, by the way. But yeah, and then I went inside and heard her sing and was like, oh my gosh, she's the singer. She is Sarah Bareilles. She's amazing. It was amazing. I've been a
Yeah.
huge fan of her. Uh,
Those were
and
the
then,
early days for her
yeah,
too. Yeah,
she
yeah.
was, she was just amazing, undeniable talent. Yeah.
Yes. For sure.
I met her a few years later at a radio thing, the California Songwriter Association. Someone took me to one of their events and she was there. And so I got to take a picture with her and say hi. And I also don't think I said anything at that point either. I was just like, she was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard sometimes to speak. The same thing
Yeah.
happened when I met Dolly Parton. She looks right at me and I just looked at her and was like, ugh, and didn't say anything.
No, yeah, I totally get it. I totally understand. I remember just a quick story, kind of staying on the KFOG theme when forgot where you had invited me, just to let the viewers know, I was sort of a trusty dusty behind the scenes helper certain times because I could be very chill and trusted. And so Rick dragged me around a few different places, and I remember, quietly sitting at a table, not really knowing exactly who was who, which was fine by me, and then chatting, with a couple of people at the table, not realizing that it was Renee Richardson that I was talking to, and huge fan. I when I realized it, you had said something to me like in my ear and I'm talking to her. I literally think I almost fell off the chair. Like I got so nervous immediately and I was like, I wish I just didn't know that. I mean, so I liked kind of being around not knowing the who's who. It was just easier to function that way.
Yeah, I listened to the morning show all the time
I
back
know.
then. I loved that crew. They let them all pretty much go around the same time. It was heart wrenching. But things changed, and they're all doing
I
great stuff,
know.
I bet now. Peter Finch, he's about down here. When he speaks, he's very, very low. And he's got this great radio voice. And I remember I was doing a morning show at KFOG during that EP release, and they had a commercial break and it was on location. So I'm recording with the morning crew, but it wasn't up in their skyscraper building. It was in a town in Marin at a bar outside. and they're recording, and they say, Rick, we're going to do commercials and news, and then we're going to cut to you. And I said, okay. And then just start playing. And they go, yeah, just start playing. We're not going to introduce you. I don't think, just start playing after we're done with the news. We'll look at you. So they do the news. And the last story is, and Jamba Juice has a little bit of a problem on their hands. There's been an E. coli breakout and 5 people have gotten sick. And everyone's kind of like, oh, that doesn't sound good, And someone says, yeah, Jamba Juice, you got to get your stuff together, And it's kind of like they threw like a tiny bit of shade. And then Peter Finch goes, and our sponsor today is Jamba Juice. And then they all look at me and I'm like, yeah. It was pretty funny. I was laughing and trying to sing, and they were filming it too, but it was on live radio with thousands of people listening. Like, they're the biggest radio station in the West Coast at the time. So
yes,
I was having a hard time even just holding myself together, my nerves,
Oh, yes, I do. Yes. I saw you. I was there a few different times and thinking, "Holy cow, can't believe this." Um, yes, we fast forward a little bit to the future as far as some of the things that you've been working on, from the EP and the writing, to actually, working with Metallica in their fan club,
yeah,
you
working
know,
for them.
for them. Um, kind of bring us through sort of, some of the transformational moments from then, really frankly to now, because you've grown so much.
Oh, thanks. When I get when people choose to work with me, it's an honor for me. And even if someone isn't someone I would work with, if their style doesn't match mine or the level of dedication or their idea of what music is supposed to bring into the world, there's a lot of things that need to match up for me to work with somebody. But when someone who I admire wants to work with me, it's like it's a day where you realize you grew an inch and you can reach a little bit higher. And I love that feeling of, I don't have to struggle so hard to feel like I'm doing a good job today.
Yes.
And
Yes.
those moments where, like, I remember Victoria George, who I mentioned, she said
Mhm.
something about my songwriting very early on that really struck me and made me feel like an equal, even though I definitely, I'm different. And at the time was definitely not equal. I don't consider myself anything like what she does. So to hear a compliment from her, I was like blown away. And I do take validation from people because what I'm doing is for them in a way. And
Right.
it's also for God. I sing to God, I sing to people. Those are my options. I could sing to angels if I wanted to, but I don't care to. But there's only a few options of things that might be listening to you. And I do listen to myself and love it, but I'm doing this so that God will hear me. I'm doing it so that people will hear me. And I'm hoping that the message relates the two to each other a bit.
Right.
And that's kind of just been my goal with writing music lately. Isn't to become famous or anything. It's just write the best songs ever. And my journey in those Oprah's aha moments, my journey has been when I realized what that meant along the way. And so I did get a job working for Metallica at their merchandise headquarters and got to interact with the band a bunch and got to hear them play every day before their tours while I'm folding t-shirts inconspicuously in the corner. Just me in the room with Metallica playing right next to me. They were really, really, really cool guys. They're just the best. I worked there 8 years,
Yeah.
but it wasn't for me to be rich and famous. I really didn't like what they had to put up with, even though it didn't seem like it bugs them or anything. I just didn't see myself ordering all these things and having so much organization, and it just looked like constraints to me, and it
Right.
wasn't worth it because my freedom was everything.
Right.
But when I wanted to become a better songwriter and realize, they write great music and they're famous because of it, but I just kind of want to write great music. I think that was a huge moment for me when I really disconnected. Like, I can have a day job, I can save, I can invest, I can work hard, and I can also do music. And what happens when I started to only do music, I lost my musical inspiration. But when I work really hard and I know that I've only got 2 or 3 hours a day to play music. By the time I get home, oh, sorry. By the time I get home to actually get to do the music, I'm so pent up and ready to play that I
Yes.
get to do it. So if I lived a privileged lifestyle, like people dream of being a star because they don't realize that being famous is probably the most annoying thing you could ever be for most people. Um, I let go of that. And along the way, if a performer can let go of the burden of needing to save the world with their music or become famous with their music, just let the music give people a little vacation from their day. Like,
Right.
raise their heartbeat a little bit with the upbeat stuff. Calm them down with something soothing. You have a special gift. And if you can play live, yeah, it is as great as people think it is. When they see me, they know I'm having a great time. And I get to do it whenever I want. I do it
Right.
at open mics. I do it at gigs. I do it out in the park. I do it on the street. I still love to play on the street. I love to write when people are passing by and meet people sometimes. But I just, I want to be a great writer. And identifying what I wanted was so hard because I had like, I was a very good looking, I was good at acting, I was good at doing stuff like, uh, I host things like,
Yes.
I love hosting trivia nights. I love hosting open mic. I love being a DJ, and I love doing master of ceremonies at weddings with 1,000 people. I love being the guy that goes around and gets the crowd to do stuff. Um, I'm very good at it. It's nice to do something you're good at, but I'm good at like 1,000 little side job things, in the wedding industry, the funeral industry, the birthday
Yeah.
industry, the bar mitzvahs. Like I can do all kinds of different little gigs if they come my way, if I need extra money. And I was playing at a restaurant during the lockdown. I was playing at a restaurant and someone heard me and they came in and they became a big smile. And they said, "Rick Hardin?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Rick Hardin? Is that really you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "I remember seeing you in high school." And I thought to myself, man, that kid is going to be famous fast. And I said, "Oh, yeah." And he said, "What happened, Rick?"
Oh,
And I
good
said, I
Lord.
said, "Oh, it just wasn't for me." And he goes, "No, what happened? Why aren't you famous?" And it was like the most annoying thing ever because I'm playing, I'm on stage, my tip jar is full. It's my day off and I'm making, nice little
Yeah.
thing maybe there. He doesn't even know. But it did bug me because I was like, it bothers me when people think I needed to be famous. That's not the whole goal. The whole goal for me is just writing good music. And
Right.
I have a feeling it could easily make me famous. It could.
Well,
Music does that.
I just want to, I mean, it's a very important, um, you know, transformation of one's mind when you go through this journey they call life, right? And art and music happens to be your journey. And yeah, it's been 20 years and it's just been, this just evolution of change and pivot. And in my mind, I mean, that's just simply what it's supposed to be, right? And frankly, when it's your time, and that's no one else's place to kind of make that call or mark it. But I do want back to the quick open mic. You have done some really fantastic open mics, and there was a season, I'm going to call it, of the good old open mic at in
Yeah.
Sausalito.
It doesn't have a name.
It doesn't have a name.
Yeah. The no name bar.
Yeah, the No Name Bar is literally the name of the bar. And um I know this time was a very special time for a lot of different reasons, and I feel so honored to be a part of it because I was there, I lived there. Um, and you collaborated with, met, befriended some amazing musicians, and tons of fun. And it was just all so beautiful and innocent, I think. And some of your best work, along with your comedic value added to the audience. But I think what was really special, speaking as a friend slash fan, was how there really was a community that was built. Like there was a community of us that was sort of built, formed around this music, these open mics. And yeah, it did happen to kind of slide into COVID too, right? So it was just kind of that
Yeah,
era
I
of
had stopped
time.
going. I just cannot stand being that close to people that drunk that often. And I just, after a while, I couldn't do it anymore because people really were just on other stuff there sometimes. But I went for years, yeah, every week faithfully, and I worked 2 or 3 jobs at a time sometimes, but I still went,
Yep,
and
I
I ended up
remember.
playing a lot of gigs there, and um, I I I still see the same crowd around, but I didn't think people were living healthy. You know, it was hard to be around people who were drinking so much, and I got into it myself so many times where I was staying in a bandmate's house, so I might as well just drink all night and have a great time and see how drunk I could be and still play. And after a while, it was Tuesday night. Every Tuesday I'd have
Yeah,
a drink, and sometimes I would actually get drunk and just stay over at Rob's house. I mean, he had a place for
right.
me and everything. So people came to me and said, you know, do you have a problem? Are you an alcoholic? And I said, no. They said, well, every time I see you, you're really drunk. And I said, what? I was kind of shocked, and I had to ask myself, am I an alcoholic? So I stopped drinking and for like 3 years. But what they didn't realize though is that they only saw me once a week. And that
Right.
was the night of the week that I would let myself have a drink, and sometimes a lot. And I didn't realize how unhealthy it was for my liver, and even just setting a bad example for other people. I really wish I hadn't drunk as much as I did, but I'm not an alcoholic, thankfully. So for me, I just stopped and didn't think about it again for years and years. And then people started referring to me as a alcoholic or as a recovery person or something. And I said, what gave you that idea? They go, oh, well, you don't drink and you used to. And I said, well, yeah, I'll have a drink. I just stopped. It's not a horrible thing if you do it right. I just kind of don't have the money right now.
Right.
But it was hard to be in a bar so much. I'll say that I didn't feel like the gift that I was providing was being appreciated by anybody after a while. But I like to play last. I like to watch everybody and support everybody in their writing, and
Right.
maybe get some advice from people, maybe give some advice if I saw something people could improve or how they could. But it was a great scene with a lot of great people who weren't too drunk and did have a great time.
Oh,
And,
absolutely. And I just want
yeah.
to make it really clear that's
Hmm.
who I'm referring to.
Yeah, for sure. It's
Um,
terrible when you have a really good group of people and there's all these other people around too.
yeah.
I used to get in trouble because I would kick them out. I'd be like, hey, you guys are being too loud. You got to go. They'd be like, do you work here? I said, yeah, you got to go. Then they would leave without even checking if I really worked there. That's, I got in trouble a couple times. So
Too funny.
yeah, I love the No Name Bar. I go in there now and it reminds me of all the people that I've lost along the way that I knew there. So that
No,
kind
I
of is a
know.
rough patch to go back to. When I walk into it, I'm glad it's a little bit different inside now, but it's a lot of memories. One
Definitely.
one great person that was not was Carla Holbrook. She sang on the Yeah 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 song,
Mhm.
and that EP she sang with me. Um, and her voice is just incredible. She's doing really well. She went to Florida and I believe got married, but she went on tour with Santana, like singing with him in for him or whatever, like the Michelle Branch parts of his set.
Yes.
She went on tour like in Europe right after she recorded with me. And I got to see her at the Shoreline Amphitheater with a sold out
Nice.
show. She was up there singing and she looked amazing. She's yeah, the crew I met in Sausalito because of Scotty and the No Name Bar. It was just there's so many cool people. It's a very transient town though. People go and leave a
Yes.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought that was definitely a very special time, and there was some really great music I remember you sort of transitioning to, which was also very exciting during that time as well. Um, Yeah, and how we just have to shout out Sausalito Cruising Club. I
Yeah.
mean, how do you leave Sausalito without mentioning that club? Thing
I,
still
I,
floats. It's amazing.
yeah. When I think about the people I've met in Sausalito, it's just really weird and funny. The mix of people, and you don't
Yeah.
even know they're famous,
No.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but because everyone's so relaxed and casual, and they don't, no one knows anybody when you're
Nope.
just getting to know them, and then you're like, oh, you're a musician. Oh, that's great. You want to jam sometime, And they're like, sure, and then you're jamming with like someone who's really, really good. It's like, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I'm in a band called Vertical Horizon. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Like, but
Yeah.
I met Keith Kane from Vertical Horizon out on the boats, and I was friends with him for a couple months at least before I knew that he was in a band, let alone one that I grew up listening to and loved. And then there were other crazy interactions there. I remember once Larry Ellison's wife hired me to write a song for him and play it for him at his birthday party on a boat. And I went to Sausalito and I wrote the song. And there's 3 people there. It was Larry, his wife, and a friend. Oh, 4 people and her friend's wife. Um, and I walked over and I looked down and there's like a little tiny boat. It's a dinghy. It's like for 4 people.
Right.
I look at it and I thought the guy was kind of rich, I didn't know at the time he was the second richest man in the world. I had no idea, didn't know. There was some guy who works for Oracle. Okay, that's cool. He's probably rich. Maybe I'll get tipped.
Right.
But so I wrote the song and I go down, and the whole idea was for me to be on the boat with them playing music. But the size of the boat, I'm like, I'm not getting in that boat.
Right.
So I thought his wife must be crazy or something, to put me in that boat with 4 people. Like, it's way too small to be playing guitar. Maybe if we were sitting and not playing. Anyway, so I went over to Larry and I said, hey, Larry, nice to meet you. My name's Rick. I'm going to be playing a song for you, and it's supposed to be on the boat. I don't really want to get in the boat. Is that okay if I just play for you right here? Like, if I suggest that, would that be okay? And he looks at me and he looked kind of relieved. And he goes, that'd be great. Thank you. I was like, oh yeah, you're welcome. I'm so happy to do someone a favor, whatever, a step back. And it's like, hey, man, do you mind if I play that song here? I don't feel like getting in the boat. And she was like, are you sure? Like, she's kind of shocked I didn't want to get the dinghy. And
That's so
then, so I played the song there, and I leave thinking like, what weird people. Oh my gosh, they're getting in that little. I had no idea. He's like a boat enthusiast. He has giant boats. And the
giant.
dinghy was just to get you there. Like,
Just
because they couldn't dock in the
I
dock.
was gonna say
It
you
was
had no
it was just to
idea.
get you there.
Right,
So
right,
I would
right,
have
right.
spent a whole afternoon in luxury with free food, meeting totally influential. It's all good. They were really nice.
But you know what though, just to like cap that off, that was the beauty, and I even appreciated it, just being around so many creative, really lovely people. And I love the ignorance is bliss. Not knowing was like the most fun part of it all. Cause then you could just, be yourself and have fun. And it's just better not to know. In my
Yeah.
opinion, I've had a few of those moments and I was just
Like,
really glad not to know.
I was glad I didn't know who Gavin Newsom was before I met him, because I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have been as friendly, and I might have said something really mean because I don't like him very much as a musician and a gig economy worker in California. But that was funny. When I meet a politician, I kind of know who they are. I don't look into them, and so I'm done interacting. You can cut that part if you want to, but I'm okay leaving it in.
Yeah, I mean, so we kind of, we went through the EP time, we kind of went through the time of just growth with working at the No Name and some of the music that you were working on through that time. I remember very specifically. And then kind of coming through COVID and it being a really interesting time of growth, I think, time of change and growth for many of us. Um, Bring me through a little bit of how that time of change affected your music and your art. What did that do?
we would always ask ourselves, what would we do if we were rich or for some reason stuck in a room all day with nothing to do except for whatever we wanted to do, except for you can't go do anything. We used to ask ourselves, what would we do if we had that opportunity to not really work? And a lot of us got that opportunity for a little while because their jobs were gone, our gigs were gone, we were sitting home. It turns out that when our purpose is wiped away and you don't get to interact with people, you don't get to sing for people, you have no audience anywhere, all your shows are gone instantly, even though you planned and advertised and booked them, and tickets have sold. It's all canceled. And you're not even going to call the venues. You're not even going to call the house concert people. You're not even going to call the fans. Everyone knows everything's gone. So there's no tedious canceling gigs. But now I'm in this peaceful place at my house with the vineyards all around me. And I know that old people are trapped in their rooms. And I know that people are potentially dying everywhere. Paying attention to the death rate and knowing the news was blowing it up, but wondering how much. And, not wanting to be deceived, but knowing I am, and trying to be pragmatic about what I should do, but not really having anything to fall back on. It was tough. And Scott gave me a job working from home. And I always thought that would be a great thing, but it was too hard for me to be in the medical field. I took a few weeks of study, and I was able to be enrolling people in a healthcare program, health coaching, if they wanted it. And I was able to do that for a couple of years, and it was pretty intense learning. And after a couple of years, I was crying every day at work. I was totally depressed. A lot of my customers would die before I called them back and things like that. And it was disappointing, and then when I looked at what my life was before the pandemic, I was going out 2 or 3 nights a week playing music. I was making more money. I was actually like just kind of the conduit and reason to pay other people.
Right.
But it was still great, to be able to go out and play and have audience and participating. Music kind of just pays for itself. But there was sometimes some summers where it would pay more than my day job, which was great. But I felt like the lockdown shut me down pretty hard. It made me understand why people commit suicide. I wouldn't think that I would ever do that myself because there's just too many other options. I could never decide to kill myself. I don't know. There's just like too many other things that might happen. I can't count that out. God might have something more for me. If I ended life now, how am I going to know? I can't handle that not knowing. But during the lockdown, when there was no purpose for me, I kind of, I was so lucky at the time to have the Wu Wei Tea Temple in my life. It's a place of community in Fairfax, California.
Yeah.
I've been working as the open mic host for 8 years now. So before the pandemic, I worked there. And then during the pandemic, I used Zoom. So I had somewhere to drive at least once a week. I would drive to the tea house in Fairfax. I would set up my iPad like we have now, set up a light behind it better than I have today. And I'd put on a 2 or 3 hour open mic. And we had people from Africa, New York, Germany, Europe somewhere, all over California. We had people calling in. We had thousands of views every week. And it was pretty cool. That was the highlight, and I performed and I had a nice sound. It was basically like if I took my guitar right now and played, it wasn't like a great live sound, but it was all we had and we appreciated it. And my boss, Tracy, she talked to me after the pandemic was over. She kept the place going, man. She's amazing. She talked to me and she said, "You're always complaining about working from home and my posture, because sitting at desk and having to yell at old people through the phone all day really just breaks your spirit." I'm like, "I know, Ethel, I'm not cross with you. I just think you can't hear me. So I'm having to yell and I'm sorry." It's like so frustrating. I don't know how people do it. I was selling them something for free that they didn't want and I couldn't give to them. So it was pretty tough. She talked me out of that job and had me start working there. So I've been working at the tea shop full time for like 3 years now. And going from the medical industry with retirement and like whatever, looking at benefits and healthcare and all that stuff, to now working in a tea shop. my boss is a genius and she's able to pay me pretty good. It's like, it sounds ridiculous what I make per hour, but it's in Marin where everything is super expensive and it's an hour drive to get there every day. But it's just really amazing to be able to live and be at peace and write music now. Because back when the shutdown first happened, I didn't think I'd be writing again. I was so over it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do this
Yeah.
on Zoom. So I ended up learning covers, which I never did. Covers are what you call when you play someone else's song.
Right.
For those of you who aren't, I didn't know what it meant when people were saying it. And I went to this restaurant in Kenwood where they had a big patio and they had an old timey truck with a flatbread on it. You remember that place?
Yes.
Palooza.
Right.
Yeah, I went to Palooza and played on the back of a truck there during the pandemic. And also when the fires started happening in 2018, I remember playing outdoors was like so smoky after that 2018 happened. And then when the
Yeah, that was
lockdown
wild.
happened and more fires happened, you couldn't play inside, you couldn't play outside, you had to wear a mask for fire when you're outside. Like it
Yeah.
was crazy. Yeah, it was so crazy to have the sky burning orange and you couldn't see the sky really. It was just the clouds that were orange over you and
Yeah.
everything shut down. I mean, you lived on my property at that time. You
Yeah, and
remember
I
that?
think, well,
You had the worst time to live in Sonoma ever.
I think, as I'm reflecting back, and it's true now because I'm in a very different place, very different part of the country. And, people just don't really know what's going on unless you are on the ground. And I think that that's what infuriates me the most. It infuriated me when I lived there. It infuriates me now. And what do I mean specifically by that? It means that, yes, transitioning into the COVID period as a resident of California in the Bay Area, although I, you know, work in a different profession, I was still very much a part of, the music scene, helping you guys, doing all of that and seeing the transitions that were being made. And yes, it was very difficult, but I have to say, a humongous shout out to the folks that were just determined to just make it happen. And a lot of that, I'll just say in the very simple terms, was very grassroots, right? So whether it was someone's deck, if it was a backyard, if it was, I won't name names, but I will say some of the counties were just like middle finger, we're going to keep the deck open and people are still
For
going to
sure.
play. It was
Yeah.
amazing. And then Tracy with that whole Zoom creation, allowing people to call in and just, that was at a time, and I know people are gonna think this sounds crazy, but yeah, I remember this, like, being excited for I think it was Sunday night, right? At whatever
Yeah.
o'clock. It was Sunday night at whatever o'clock, and it was like, "Okay, gotta get ready for the like, yeah, and you're right.
Yeah.
Couldn't breathe inside, couldn't breathe outside, but, things were happening regardless of it, and, it was a really tough time, but it was a really special time, and that's time of, just change, pivot, resilience, keep going, do what you gotta do to make it
Yeah.
happen. It
I,
just
I
was.
I don't know how everyone made it through without the things that I have that helped me, Like I had Jesus with me every day for sure. I had my mom and dad were available all the time.
Yep.
And I don't know if people don't have like a belief or a family structure or something that they can hold on to during those hard times. Um, I feel like the reason I write music is to relieve people of the stress of the day and in my own way, fight the great evil that's out there of depression and what boredom can become. I'd like to inspire people, and getting people to come out to shows is difficult for me. I'm not good at that
Yeah.
part,
I
but I
know.
wish I was. But I do love to write, and it's the only value that I find in life. You know, I've been really lucky to have a lot of great things to do here. I'm never bored in California, but I'm really lucky, I feel, to be a performer and be able to do this. And I want to do the best I can at it. That Martin Luther King's speech about just being the best you can,
Yeah.
it hits me, that kind of thought. I think about that all the time. When I'm feeling like I can't do it very well, I know the only thing missing in the ingredient is my attitude. And I try to change that. And I can change an attitude of my own most of the time. If I'm in the car, good luck. I'm always angry in the car. Other than that, I'm able to really, change my mood and know that with the right tools mentally, I can stay in the right mind frame to write and perform and have a great show. And if I'm not feeling like playing, it's because I'm not in the right mood mentally.
Right.
It's easy with music. If you're not doing a good job, it's because your head's not right.
That's right.
And getting in front of people with your head not right is not a good feeling. So I'm pretty good at, getting my head right, stepping out on stage. And it really comes down to being grateful and enjoying myself. That's what changes my mood. It lifts me up. Like the song that you use for the title of your,
let's
or
talk
not
about
title, but
that.
intro.
Perfect segue.
Yeah. It's a long way back down to where I have been. Not saying you're less long or whatever, that way down, but for me, it's a long way down to things that I felt and the things that I've seen to where I am now.
Yep.
And I'm not satisfied, and I never will be. So I'm not in that much of a hurry. So when I'm not in a hurry and I have a goal, good luck stopping me, because I'm not frantic. I'm not making last minute deals. I'm working little by little to become better and closer. I'm winning the game by attrition. I'm going to be better and last longer because I'm not going to wear myself out. I'm going to be a writer until I am 85.
Boom.
That's my goal. And it's so nice to have a good work ethic in my day job life. I feel really blessed that I get to compartmentalize myself and work really hard so that I can work really hard and be free and afford it,
I really want to capitalize on that for a second, because sure, folks are going to ask me maybe before, but maybe not after they see this interview, why I chose the song that I chose. And I chose it exactly for what you just said. And you said it so beautifully. And that's exactly how I feel.
Nice. It's a great way to be, because you're inviting opportunity. And I mean, the whole hoodoo thing, I think it's called, where if you believe it, it works on you. It's true. I believe it. Except for usually, like, I do a positive version of it, a fake it till you make it. If you're not feeling it, sometimes you just gotta, go in the room and scream and then come back with a smile on your face and work even harder. A lot of people that are,
we've said that a few times.
Yeah. It's hard.
It is hard. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, it's all good. I just wanted to say, like, I don't want to make it sound like I can do that. That's like, but I can. But it's still really hard. It's just not easy to do.
No, nothing is easy.
Yeah. It's
possible. Right.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but it's possible. So bring us to the present. What's going on with Rick Hardin right now? Like, what do we have to look forward to?
I just had the two most creative output kind of years of my life. I'll share some art that you can show with this that I've been drawing. I started drawing an hour a day to relax, because I found with music, there's a lot of things you need to do, like find publishers and find promoters and fans and the instruments and all the playing. And it can be kind of stressful. And I used to just, do music as a way to relax, but it came kind of stressful because I started taking it sort of seriously,
Yes.
And then, so then I started drawing to relax, but then I got really good at drawing and started selling pieces. And then I started thinking, well, if I could just draw faster and more and sell some, and then it became stressful, because every time I do something artistically to relax, it becomes something I love and I get better at it. And then I think, how can I make money with this? So I have like a few different things I like to do that used to relax me all the time, but I have to kind of get myself in the headspace to know that I'm who I am I like to do what I'm doing. It's not, no pressure. Whatever comes out, comes out. But I am very interested at this point in time uh, to unburden myself by what has been and move forward into, I feel like I'm quoting a politician. I really do feel that way for myself. I have been letting the past say too much to me, and I'm really looking forward to the future where I can influence people with positive messages. I'm writing happy songs if possible. I'm feeling like that might be my jam. I'm loving like Peach Pit has a song called Vicky. It's one of my favorite songs right now. It's upbeat and happy. My nephew Joe Jackson is an amazing performer and songwriter. He turned me on to this music that's so happy and like everything that I want to write, and right now I'm just about moving forward. I've been doing 2 years of full band productions with Scott Mickelson. He plays most of the instruments. I play the guitar and a little bit of electric guitar. And then we have a drummer, Frank Reyna, Studio 33. Those guys did a great job in the last 18, 19 songs, maybe 20.
Nice.
It was amazing. I think 20. And my goal for the future is to, let those go out into the world, but start to record acoustically and do an album that's way broken down. Instead of spending thousands on a song, I'll probably not be spending as much money. So I'll be able to save up and promote more because that's the piece of the puzzle for me that I haven't been doing enough. Because I don't enjoy it and I don't want to burn out. It's funny, but I don't know how to do a lot of things in the music industry that are effective, and everyone wants your money. And I hate subscribing to something and not knowing if there's any results and then finding out there's no result, but at least I don't have any money now. So I really just like word of mouth and meet people. And my nephews think that I'm famous because when I walk around Sonoma or Marin or San Francisco, everyone knows me everywhere I go. But I tell them, no, I'm not famous. I played a lot of music around here for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends and I've done a lot of shows. And it's so funny. I had like memories of playing on Alcatraz with thousands of people in front of me. And I've got an original inmate right next to me playing with my band. It's crazy. I've had such an amazing experiences from being in music. So I've had a really full life. And for now, I just want to keep that energy of accepting that good things can happen.
That's right.
And that, I've got a plan laid out for me. I want to walk in the way of that plan and have a good life.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'm here to bring joy. And so I'm going to focus on doing that. And my ego was just kind of crushed. I don't have one anymore in the same way. I do care about like presenting myself in a nice picture and sounding good, but all day long, I just hope that I have something good to say to somebody. And that's how I feel. I just want to spend my time doing my part of the work and saying nice things. Like it doesn't sound that hard, but it really is these days.
Yeah, it is.
So my music can do it for me. Yeah.
Well, anything up and coming that we can look forward to in terms of trying to see you play or perform, I should say.
I'll be doing some kind of CD release party, and it'll be hopefully soon. I'm going to be just working on the art for the cover. I want to create it myself this time, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a painting. I just don't know of what.
Okay.
So I just need to finish that, and the masters are in Chicago right now getting mastered, the tracks for these 11 songs. I've already heard 6 of them. It sounds so good. I'm super proud to have written these, and Scott Mickelson did such a great job producing them. I was lucky. So I think I really, I'm in a good place to do some live shows now because I'm more free. I'm not working as hard with producing.
Right.
I can't do both. I can't have a day job, a side gig, a side hustle, and do gigging and recording. So, but yeah, I'll be gigging more. I've got a few gigs with Scotty out on the Sausalito Cruising Club deck out on the bay. that place was a great place during COVID to be able to play outside.
I love that
Yeah.
place. Well, good. Good. Anything else we should know about you, Rick, before we wrap
Yeah.
it up?
I just say don't be satisfied. Be content, but don't be satisfied.
Yes.
Because I'm not satisfied yet.
I'm not satisfied yet either.
Yeah. And comparing myself to anybody else is probably the thing I've moved away from more than anything that's made me the happiest as an artist. If there is an artist out there or somebody who's never done art because they're comparing themselves to somebody else, don't do that. It stops your inspiration 100% of the time. You can be inspired by somebody for sure. But when we compare ourselves to other people, we, in the wrong way, if it's not a positive thing that makes you want to go do more, you shouldn't do it. But
No, I
anyway,
agree.
yeah.
I agree. Well, as an OG here, OG Rick Hardin fan, forever Rick Hardin fan, I'm so honored to have you here on my passion project, Beneath the Surface. Share your work and the cover song of my passion here and all the good stuff. I can't wait to see. I always can't wait to see what's going to happen next. I'm always there.
Well, you're a great friend, Gina. Thank you so much. It's been really strange to be interviewed by someone I'm so close to.
But a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, we will keep our eye out on what's happening with Rick Hardin. Y'all can find Rick Hardin on Spotify, YouTube. Rick, we're going to stick a whole bunch of stuff up where folks can find you so that they can locate this amazing music, both past, current, and future.
Thank you.
Okay.